Good morning. Welcome to Going On Daily Live. I'm your host, Becky, here with Mr. Martin this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Becky.
I am told that our chat is down. I just sent one. No, I just sent one on YouTube, and there it is. So,
okay.
Chat is alive and well on YouTube at Rhode Island Broadcasting. So today's going to be a good show. We are titling it The Stranger. We are talking Billy Joel again. You and I talked a couple of weeks ago about him.
Yes.
There's just a story I thought was interesting. So we are talking that today. We are talking Shakespeare again. Is that correct? I didn't actually read.
No, Shakespeare at the Tony Awards, in the wake of the Tony Awards.
Okay, we're talking Tony Awards.
Yeah, it's Shakespeare at the Tony Awards. I did not watch the Tony Awards. I don't watch them, even though I worked in theater and work peripherally in theater now. Award shows bore me to tears. So unless
do they?
If I have a friend who's nominated, I will watch. Last night I did not have a friend who was nominated, but
interesting.
Little twist on the Tony Awards, though. We'll have some fun with it.
Okay, that sounds great. We're also talking about deadly foods and summer arts events. So I'm pretty excited for this. It's a real mix today. Sometimes all of our stuff aligns, it flows into it, and other times it is completely different. So looking forward to today's show. Before we start, let's tell everyone where they can find us. So we have a new Facebook page, Going On Daily. So go Facebook at Going On Daily. Type it in there right under Martin's face here. You can follow us there. And of course, you can support the show with stars. I had to think about that. Stars on Facebook. You can also follow us on YouTube at Rhode Island Broadcasting. You can still follow our Facebook at RI Broadcasting. We are on Kick at Rhode Island Broadcasting, and we are also on Twitch at RI_Broadcasting. And you can like the show, subscribe, hit the alert buttons, support with bits, stars, all the things at these places. You can also go to our socials at X, RI Broadcasting. Sorry, Broadcasting RI. They're all different. Patreon, Space Hey, MeWe, Kick, TikTok, Blue Sky at RI Broadcasting, and of course our Patreon to go get yourself some merchandise and support the show. So why don't you kick us off talking about summer arts events?
Okay, here we go. Well, we're almost at the summer. Feels like summer after Memorial Day. We're a couple of weeks away, and what happens is the performing arts moves outdoors in the Northeast in the summer. Not entirely, but so there's outdoor stuff. There's a lot of indoor stuff too. So in the wake of a couple of weeks ago, I was raving about this Prime show, Etoile, about a ballet company in Paris and in New York. I'm going to lean a little bit into the dance events that sort of dovetails into Etoile. So if you folks have been following Etoile, you'll be interested to know it's filmed the theater, the so-called Fish Theater in the TV series is actually the Metropolitan Opera House at Lincoln Center. And now in New York, there's tons of dance companies. The two that perform in residence at Lincoln Center are the New York City Ballet and American Ballet Theater. It is American Ballet Theater that does perform at the Metropolitan Opera House, and much like the company in Etoile. And they will be in residence this summer from June 10th to July 19th. And in their offerings, they're going to have some classics, Swan Lake and Giselle. So if people like ballet, it's sort of, this is the meat and potatoes of ballet. And as a treat, on June 21st, there's going to be a guest artist. Her name is Olga Smirnova. And I confess, I am not so much into the ballet that I recognize the name, but doing a little research, she is known as an extraordinary ballerina, formerly of the Bolshoi Company. So this is the height of dance achievement. She will be performing on June 21st. So if you have that ballet vibe and you're within a couple hours drive of New York City, think about going to see American Ballet Theater. And if you can get there on the 21st, it'll be a super rare treat for you. One other note. So the fictitious company in Etoile is nominally the New York City Ballet. They too perform at Lincoln Center at a theater diagonally across from the Metropolitan Opera. It used to be called the New York State Theater. It was now renamed after Edward Koch of the Koch brothers fame, who paid for a major refurbishment. So New York City Ballet is not in residence now. You can catch them in the fall, and of course Nutcracker in the winter. So there,
I love the Nutcracker Ballet.
great
I
music, great
love
band.
it.
It's a nice
Totally.
highlight of Christmas. Okay. Also, if you've been watching A Trois, there is a piece choreographed by Christopher Wheeldon. One of the things in there he was involved with, Christopher Wheeldon, extraordinary choreographer, will be offering an adaptation of Shakespeare's and that is going to
Oh,
happen, I think, also with American Ballet Theater. So again, get your, if you got the A Trois vibe going, New York's the place to be this summer. Um, the the Joyce Theater hosts a lot of different ballet companies. I'll just give you the names of who's going to be there and when, and then you check it out online if you're interested. But at the Joyce Theater in New York, the Paul Taylor Dance Company is going to be there June 17th to 22. It's phenomenal dance, different from classical ballet, quite extraordinary. Also, dance group will be there July 15th through the 26th. Very contemporary. And if classical dance has a reputation of being, you have to be a certain body type, and the
right.
dancers starve themselves, and they're all very, very thin and strong. The Mark Morris Company throws body image out the window. They are
Wow.
all extraordinary dancers, but they come in all shapes and sizes and very
That's cool.
contemporary. Yeah, so worth a look. And the Joyce's summer program is going to close with some short works by the great Jerome Robbins, who was choreographer and stage director of note from the end of the 20th century. His theatrical work, everyone is familiar with West Side Story, Fiddler on the Roof, etc.
Hmm.
But he was in charge of the New York City Ballet for many, many years and followed in the footsteps of the great George Balanchine. One other thing, I'm going to cast a broader net for dance. If you live in New England and can get to Massachusetts, into the area known as the Berkshires, there is a wonderful dance festival every summer. Jacob's Pillow. That is the name of the
Jacob's Pillow.
Jacob's Pillow, and that is the name of
Hmm.
the. How should I put it? Well, that's the name of the company there, but it's a whole compound. It's a dance company.
Wow.
It's a dance dance studies. They're wonderful, and they're in residence from June 25th to August 24th. I used to go all the time in Norway. I'm like, we got to go to Jacob's Pillow, and just it's a wonderful evening there because the dance, you never know what you're going to see,
Hmm.
but you're in the most beautiful place. There's indoor theaters, there's outdoor theaters, but it's the whole compound there is a great place to have a picnic
It
dinner.
looks
uh, Wine.
amazing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Like
it is a
just
beautiful
the
summer.
backdrop, like
Yes.
everything about it looks amazing. I wasn't sure what to think by Jacob's Pillow. The name is a little
it's
weird. It's a little
it's
off.
a
Well, it's
biblical
comforting, but
it's a biblical reference. Basically, the name comes from, there is
gotcha.
a, like, I think of the big rock there that sort of, when they founded this company, said this is where Jacob was sleeping. This is when he had the vision of going up to heaven,
Okay.
and that's
Yes.
where it takes its name. So, but no, there's really no indoctrination of any religion. It's a metaphor, and it's a beautiful place.
I was gonna
I'm
say, and
gonna
that's in Massachusetts all of
in
a sudden.
Massachusetts. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, very cool.
Um,
This is a picture of it behind me, one of their outdoor stages.
yeah.
Just look at this backdrop. Like this is
Oh yeah.
gorgeous.
There are people who come up just to go through this festival. They rent a
Wow.
B&B or a room or an Airbnb now in the Berkshires, and they'll just see everything for a couple of weeks because they have to. But also,
Wow.
the dance is extraordinary, but the environment, the Berkshires is such a wonderful place to just chill out and enjoy nature and art and and good food and drink and all the wonderful things that life has to offer. That might be an interesting topic for another show too, just the Berkshires and what they're like in the summer.
Hmm.
Um, I will wrap up with something. I'm going to move away from dance, but something that just came to my attention. I'm just so excited about it. There is an opera company in New York, upstate New York, in Cooperstown. Okay, it's called the Glimmer Glass Opera Company. It's named
Mm-hmm.
after
Glimmer
this
glass.
marvelous Lake Otsego that it's set upon. And I know opera is not everyone's jam, but let me tell you, you could do a lot worse for a summer outing because it's beautiful there, and the Baseball Hall of Fame is there in the same
Okay,
town. So
amazing.
you can pair, you can pair your outings and really have a nice eclectic experience. But I'm mentioning Glimmerglass because this summer, opening July 18th, I couldn't get find all the performance dates. This is new. They're doing an adaptation of Andres Cisneros' book. Wonderful when I was teaching high school English, well, to theatrical enterprises. So I'm very excited that they've now turned this into an opera or some piece of musical theater, and I'm going to make sure I get up there to get to the Hall of Fame and then the Glimmerglass Opera Company. So
I
some
love
things.
that name.
Yes, yes, it is, and
Glimmer.
it is such a beautiful theater. When they have it's designed such they have a glass background. Now they'll close it for when they're in performance, so that the
Mm,
light doesn't bleed in. But then they'll open it up, so you're in the auditorium. You can go and see the lake. It's just lovely, and they do excellent work. And once again, the location really matters when you're going to see something. If you can go in an environment where it's beautiful, where there's good food, you can smell the forest and clean air. It just enhances your experience.
totally.
So
It's
yeah,
immersive. It's like
yes,
4D
yes.
or
It's
if
like
or 5D or whatever you want
yes,
to call it, where you
absolutely.
appeal
Yeah,
to all the senses. I love
right,
that.
right. So, but if you can combine baseball and opera, that's
I
great. So
mean, it's it's very rich guy for
yeah,
sure. Like America's pastime, but also like you're fancy a little bit.
yes.
Sounds all
Just
right.
a
That
little,
sounds like my
just a
kind
little
of
bit.
weekend.
Okay, so that's coming up. Things to do this summer from New York to Massachusetts.
I love it. I need to get out of Canada. I need to come to the
Okay,
East. To come to the East part of the US, you need to take me on all these tours because you know
I
all the
will.
spots, you know all the culture. I wouldn't even
Yeah,
know where to begin. Like realistically, you can make anything a vacation. In my head,
yeah,
I wouldn't think, hey, we should go to Massachusetts. We should go to
right.
New England. And yet there's so much to do here. Just like no one would think, hey, we should go to Edmonton for a vacation. And yet there's so much to do here in the summer. So
Um, Summer in Western Massachusetts is the best. If you had to choose between New
really,
York and Western Massachusetts, I'd say go to the
okay,
Berkshires. Don't hit me, New Yorkers. Don't hit me. New York is there year round, but Western Mass.
year
I'll,
round. Yes, exactly.
but Becky, can I tell you what? You know where I've always wanted to go, and I haven't because of the distance, and I haven't figured it out
Hmm.
and everything. Out in your neck of the woods, the Banff. Am I
Yeah,
saying
I
right?
was just in
Yeah,
Banff in April. I was there. And then in July, I'll be in Jasper, and they're both
yeah.
fantastic. You
Well,
absolutely need to.
yeah. The programming at Banff very impressive. I've been following it most of my adult life, so maybe we'll do a swap. You come east, I'll go west,
That'd be
and
awesome.
all right,
Yeah, Banff is only about 4 and a bit hours from me. So it's
okay.
very easy to get to.
Oh
Even if
yeah,
you flew into Calgary, it's only an hour from Calgary. So
okay.
it's very easy to get to. It's a beautiful scenic drive. There's so much to do in Banff, more so than Jasper, especially because Jasper burnt down last year.
Oh,
But it's Banff is absolutely an amazing time. Great nightlife, great food. They have a real foodie scene there lately, so it's a really cool place to be.
sounds
I love it.
wonderful. On my
And
list.
speaking of food, let me go ahead and change my background again. So we
Okay.
are talking deadly foods here. Okay, this is interesting. I'm a bit of a foodie
Uh-oh.
myself. Okay, I like to consider
Mhm.
myself fairly adventurous. How about you?
Yes, except for the fact that I can't eat
Hmm.
seafood, with much to my disappointment and perhaps the shame of my great family at large. But other than the seafood thing, I'll try. I like to eat adventurously and
Okay,
comprehensively from
so you're
different
allergic to
cuisines.
seafood then?
No, I'm not allergic. It just makes me. I don't want to be graphic. It makes me ill,
I
but
don't
it's
want
not
to
an
be
allergy.
graphic.
It's a
So
taste. It's a taste thing. If
okay,
it tastes like
you're
fish,
done.
I'm going to be nauseous,
And I mean that's
guaranteed.
sort of the whole
Yeah.
thing of fish is that it tastes like itself. So Yes,
Exactly.
I understand what you're
Exactly.
saying. You have to get out of that headspace and take it for what it is. Like I eat a lot of raw tuna, and then but if I eat it
Mhm.
on its own, I'm like, ugh, this is gross. But if it's mixed into a poke bowl with sauce and vegetables,
Right.
delicious. So I get what you're saying.
I'll eat a crab cake. I'll eat a crab cake if there's nice
I was gonna say there's
remoulade
a lot
and a
of
lot
like
of cake.
mayo and breadcrumbs and green onions,
Yeah,
scallions, whatever. Delicious. Deep fried, all about it.
exactly. Exactly.
So the reason I got on
All
this
right.
topic is because I came across an article that was talking about tilapia. Now, tilapia is a very easy fish to buy, to
Yeah.
eat. It's cheap, but it's actually not great for you because of how dirty these creatures are, the waters they live
Huh.
in, the food that
Mm,
they eat. It's gross. So then I was thinking, so what are some dangerous foods or deadliest foods? So, not sure if you've ever heard of this food. It's called ackee. Now, I have heard of it lots because I watch a ton of Food Network. Ackee and saltfish is a
mhm.
big Jamaican national dish. So, it's just it looks like a fruit or maybe even a vegetable. To me, it looks like an apple, but they mix it with this saltfish. Now, when it's prepared correctly, this Jamaican dish is perfectly safe to consume. However, ackee is questionable. It's also the country's national fruit. So it's crazy to me that it's questionable. Now, it's not native to Jamaica, but it was likely brought over from Africa during the slave trade. That's very interesting. So in Jamaican cuisine, it's treated more like a vegetable, appearing in a lot of savory dishes. Although it creates the poison hypoglycin, when properly harvested or cooked, the poison will dissipate. I love that. When properly cooked, it will dissipate.
When that's a big
Yes,
caveat.
when cooked properly.
Yes.
But if you're cooking it wrong,
Right.
it's known to cause
Yes.
the
Yes.
Jamaican vomiting sickness. So, in addition to being sick to your stomach, the illness could
Okay.
lead to side
Okay.
effects like seizures, comas, and even death. So, you know what? I'll be leaving that weird little apple alone,
Okay.
probably. Although I see it all over the.
Yeah. There's so many other fruits.
There's so many other
Yeah.
fruits.
Yeah.
Yeah, realistically.
I was gonna say exactly. Exactly.
The way they have it
Yeah.
cut up, it's sort of
Oh
cut
God.
like a red pepper. So, like between a red pepper and an apple, I'll just eat one of those things, you know? So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my plan.
Smart choice. I mean, how good could it be that it's worth
Yeah, literally.
risking Jamaican
Oh,
sickness
wow.
and
I don't know.
maybe
I'm
death?
just
I don't
thinking
know.
about that time you talked about those weird little birds in France, and
The
it's
ortolan,
so
right?
horrific.
Exactly.
Why do people eat it? Because they do. I don't know. People are weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ron
Yeah.
says, I don't know why people
Mhm.
risk it for that. You're right. Why do they? I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's a
Yeah.
weird one, baked bullfrogs. So, yes, in France, speaking of
Mhm.
France and the savage things that they do, um, they eat, just kidding. I love French food. They eat frog legs, of course. They're actually very delicious. But have you tried an
Mhm.
entire bullfrog? I'm guessing probably not. Have you? No. Yeah,
I have not.
I didn't
That
think so.
that pleasure has eluded me thus far.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So in Namibia, there exists a dish called omafuma. It consists of whole
Omofuma.
cooked bullfrogs. The frogs are either baked or barbecued. However, it can be quite dangerous. These frogs contain a toxin within their bodies, although the poison can be avoided once again if the dish is cooked correctly. But the consequences of getting it wrong are intense. So if omafumu isn't prepared correctly, eating it can cause kidney failure. I'm sorry, like you need those. You
God.
need your kidneys. You do not
Yeah.
want to be
Yeah.
on dialysis. You need
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
whatever. Moving on. This one is gross. This one made me.
It,
Sorry, go on.
no, it's just it's always that caveat if it's prepared
If
correctly. But I mean, what an if? What an
again, like
if?
someone originally ate it, died, or kidney failure,
Yeah.
kidney shut down,
Yeah.
whatever. And they were like, wait,
Yeah.
let's try to prepare it a different way. Let's just see if, and they keep doing it until eventually they're like, we got it. We live. Okay, so this one made me gag when I saw it. I couldn't even read it last time. I started to read the article and I was like, ugh, and I think I was just like, I'd eaten something already. It's called a blood clam. Now, the reason it made me gag is the picture. It looks bloody and it's disgusting. Now, it isn't bloody, but they do contain a significant amount of hemoglobin, which makes them look very bloody. Now, to some, most probably, it's unsightly and gruesome in appearance. Yes, people like me who see it and gag. And they are more likely to contain a dangerous disease like hepatitis, typhoid, and dysentery more than other clams do. And they're even illegal to harvest in California. But these clams were once considered very popular in Chinese cuisine. Not a surprise there. The risks associated with these clams have been known for a while. In 1988, in fact, a widespread hepatitis A epidemic swept through Shanghai. The outbreak was traced back to blood clams. As a result, 300,000 individuals were exposed to Hep A.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't want my food to have Hep A along with my water and my ice and everything else that I'm touching, my shared needles, whatever else.
Hepatitis A free.
Yeah.
Now with less hepatitis.
Yeah.
The dysentery is almost like, why even put that on the list? All right, dysentery, but hepatitis.
Right.
Hey, we can all. Nobody likes dysentery, but when you get into this other realm,
like typhoid. Like I feel like in today's day and age, we can combat dysentery likely. Not like 100 years ago when it was killing people left and right. I think, take yourself an Imodium. I think you'll be okay. I don't know, though. I've never had it. So this one was really surprising to me because I quite like this food. Cassava. So the cassava root, interesting, right? It's commonly grown in tropical regions of like South America, Southeast Asia, West Africa. I always get cassava chips or like the blend that has like beets, sweet potatoes, cassava. I can't remember the other one. Yuca, is that? Anyways. So you might be familiar with it also in powder form. You see cassava flour all the time. It's commonly used as like a wheat substitute for gluten-free products. It is responsible for the tapioca pearls in boba tea. I assumed that it was tapioca, but what do I know? So in its cooked and processed form, there's nothing to worry about. However, there's always a however. Raw cassava root contains cyanogenic glucosides, which release a highly toxic chemical called hydrogen cyanide, according to a study published by the Medical Toxicology Report. In Uganda, that's very specific. In Uganda, consumption of cassava flour led to a 2017 outbreak of cyanide poisoning with 98 suspected cases and 2 deaths. Like, why are you eating it raw? It's like eating a potato raw. Like, it doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
You ever tried to eat a potato raw? It's disgusting. So it says if you're buying from a reputable or reliable retailer, you're fine. You're totally fine. Have that bubble tea. But just know.
Okay, the bubble tea.
Just know there is a chance that it could kill you.
I think by the time it's processed in tapioca or chip form, I think, but I've seen cassava root in grocery stores, and I know it's a food source for many people in different countries, common food source. And you would think, I don't know, I'm thinking that if it was, we've seen more of this kind of cyanide poisoning, if it was that dangerous, unfortunate as the Uganda situation is. So out of all the foods that you have mentioned, if someone said pick one, I'm going
100%.
Even
100%.
But
I'll take maybe puking for like a day or two over kidney failure and death and hepatitis. The CDC recommends that if you're going to buy tubers, which a cassava is, soaking them for at least 4 to 6 days before cooking or consuming them. That is a commitment. Dang.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
But what do they call it? Make ahead. We're having a party next week. Better start soaking
that's
the cassava now.
Yeah, if you're having turkey and cassava, you are starting a week in advance. Yes.
Yep. Okay. Make no mistake. Jeez. I remember reading about a fish. I don't remember the name of it. You didn't mention it, but it was one of these things. When cooked, I believe in
Mm,
Japan
that's
properly,
that's
it's a
this.
delicacy. But if you don't, oh, that's it.
That's
Is that it? And the liver, but if not, the liver
fugu.
could kill you. All
Fugu.
right,
Yeah.
all right. The
This
Simpsons did
is
a bit on it on
fugumi.
one of their
Yes.
episodes from
Yes.
like yeah, from like the third season or something. And that's
I
crazy.
remember my
Well,
parents had a VHS tape recorded off the TV. You put the tape and you hit record.
mhm,
It was that. So the ending would
I've
always
done
like
that.
jam together with the next episode, but it was of The Simpsons. Now,
Yeah,
I don't want to say I was like a
yeah.
sheltered child, but I wasn't allowed to watch anything with like magic or like mystical stuff, whatever, because we were a Christian family. I was allowed to watch Simpsons, which at
Okay.
the time in the early 90s was like fairly risque. And so I remember always like
Hmm.
finding this videotape and putting it in, and that episode was on there, the fugu fish. And I
Ah,
remember there's like
okay.
a diagram on it of the puffer fish. And like if anyone doesn't know what a puffer
Yes.
fish looks like, let me just show you a little picture of it because I got one uploaded here. It's a cute little guy.
Okay.
So anyway, the Simpsons have this diagram of this puffer
There it is.
fish, and it's like sectioned off. It's like poison fish,
Yeah.
poison fish, poison fish, tasty fish, poison fish. So
That's
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 all you
all you
need to
need.
know.
That's
That's
all
all
the
you need to
primer you
know.
need to do
Yeah,
it
and
safely.
Homer's
Right.
demanding the fugu, and
Yeah.
and then he falls asleep
Of
after,
course.
and Marge thinks he's dead, and then all of a sudden he drools, and she's like, "He's alive!" So that it just made me laugh when I think of this. So it says that sashimi lovers may
Oh,
want to stay clear of fugu, also called a puffer fish or a silver stripe blasop. It contains
mm,
a tetrodotoxin. Tetrodotoxin? I've never heard of that. In several of its organs, particularly the liver, like you were saying. This neurotoxin is
mm.
1,200 times more poisonous than cyanide. 1,200. Okay, people.
You had me at
Neurotoxin. That's right. That's
neurotoxin.
right. It says that this toxin in pufferfish can cause anything from giddiness. Okay, so you can get high off of it and numbness to
Mm,
severe paralysis. It can render you unable to
mm,
breathe while still maintaining consciousness. It can even kill you. Oh my goodness. Um,
mm.
now it says it's horrifying, although easily avoidable, obviously. However, daredevil foodies are willing to take the risk and even pay big bucks to try fugu sashimi. Although it's considered a luxury
Okay.
item in Japan, but it's only served in restaurants with qualified fugu handler. How do you become that and why?
Yes.
Like to
Yes.
know
Yeah.
that, like, is there a disclaimer? Like, so you don't sue that guy? Because,
Hmm.
like, the first time someone in America eats
Right.
fugu and dies, their family is suing. Maybe Japan doesn't have the
Yes.
same sort of suing mentality that the Americans do, but like,
Or you have to indemnify the restaurant or something if you're gonna buy it or something. I don't know. It's
I,
I love that phrase "daredevil foodies,"
yeah,
which I've never heard before, but
daredevil
that's
foodies.
that's exactly what we're
Mhm.
talking about. Yeah. I guess Anthony
Yes.
Bourdain was maybe not officially, maybe unofficially a
Well, let me
daredevil
go
foodie.
down
I
to a
always
topic
admired.
of his here because there's one
Okay.
from
All right.
him.
Oh,
This is called, and I'm not
wonderful.
Scandinavian by any means, so I will butcher this, but hakarl is the name of the food. So it says that Anthony Bourdain once told the Wall Street Journal that hakarl was the single worst, most disgusting and terrible tasting thing that he has ever tried. I loved Anthony Bourdain, by the way. That was a big loss.
As as did I. Yes, a terrible
Totally.
loss. Yeah. I
He
I
says that
agree.
this food might be an acquired taste. It's also the national dish of Iceland. So of course, like you don't want to offend the people of Iceland. This is their national dish, but he said it's
No.
the most disgusting thing he's ever tried. It consists of, and this sounds so disgusting, fermented dried shark meat from Greenland sharks. It's
Mm,
also potentially toxic. So, because sharks don't
mm.
have urinary tracts, everything is filtered through their flesh. I did not know that. That's interesting. This
No,
is
neither did
crazy.
I.
This includes waste, toxins, and high levels of urea and trimethylene oxide, both of which help keep the sharks from freezing in Arctic waters. Drying the meat can neutralize these toxins, but if you get a strip of under-dried or poorly prepared shark jerky, you are in for one unpleasant ride. Very interesting. Now, it's not nearly enough to scare off the Icelandics. They love it, obviously. They've been using the same aging method since the Viking times, fermenting it underground and then air drying it. Chefs know a finished product when they smell one. So if you don't like fish, Martin, this is not the food for you.
This isn't going to win me over. Is that what you're saying?
It says that the carcass gives off a rotting, pungent odor. That means it's time to eat it. There's something about rotten pungent that makes me say, like, no, thank you.
Yes.
Ron, the side of dirt is the least of our concerns here. Okay. Ron is saying side of dirt. No, like underground, it's probably in a container, a bag, something natural. Yeah. Fermented. Don't get me wrong. I like fermented foods. I love me some sauerkraut. I love me some kombucha. However, I don't know that I love fermented meat. That sounds disgusting.
Yeah. Specifically shark.
Yes, specifically shark.
You know, if Anthony Bourdain says this is the most disgusting thing he's ever tasted, and he eats everything and tends to love it, if he's telling you that it's for his palate, I mean, that's a Atlantic, and you haven't been inured to
you didn't grow up on it.
Yeah, yes. You stay the hell away from it. Full stop.
Literally. Yes, literally. Wow. Gross. Yeah, very much so. Okay, I will do one more and then we will move on here. I might save it for my show with Kenny, my show with Lana tomorrow. Whoever's doing the show with me, that's what I'm going to save it for. So this last one is called Casu Marzu. It really translates into the words rotten cheese. Okay. Now, like blue cheese, gorgonzola, this is a delicacy. It tastes delicious if you have an acquired taste for those things. I personally love blue cheese. I think it's fantastic, mold aside, right? So it obviously doesn't take much of imagination to envision what we mean by rotten cheese, right? This is a Sardinian dairy product.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. We don't. Well, I mean, you're Italian, so this should appeal to you, but
no. It does, and just in this past year and a half, I've been exposed to some Sardinian cheeses. I don't think this particular one, but they're on my radar now.
Okay. So, see, and I've never heard of any Sardinian food. Like, to me, I don't think, oh, hey, like what do they eat in Sardinia? This has never come across my mind whatsoever, but this is cool. So this is why you've never tried this, even though you're familiar with this kind of food. It's made from Sardinian cheese called Pecorino Sardo, plus one crucial ingredient, it's maggots. You know the smell that maggots give off? Like, let's say you've accidentally left your garbage bag on your balcony, and then you move it. It's a hot day. You move it. There are maggots. I've had this. It's sweet. It's gross. It's good. This is what I'm picturing this cheese smells like.
Yeah.
So during the maturation process, the cheese is cut open, and the eggs of cheese flies are combined with it. This is intentional. What is happening here? Yeah. When the larvae hatch, they begin to consume the cheese. This is the most disgusting one I've read. I would take blood clams over this. When the larvae hatch, they begin to consume cheese. Their digestive process accelerates fermentation, creates a delicate, creamy consistency. It's so soft, it almost melts, oozing liquid beads known as lagrimas, or tears. Like I want to throw up.
Yum.
According to Britannica, the Guinness Book of World Records once deemed it the most dangerous cheese. The organization attributed the danger to the maggots, writing that they can survive stomach acid to pass through the intestinal walls, causing vomiting, abdominal pain, bloody diarrhea. Luckily, this cheese is banned in most countries, including Italy. Perfect. Okay. But if you must try this rancid cheese, some local Sardinian producers may still sell it under the table.
I love it. You go to the island of Sardinia and you gotta scope around for some black market cheesemonger. You know, you gotta ask around. Maybe there's a code, and then he goes, come here, I show you, and then
Yeah,
you move
exactly.
them around someplace. All this so that you can eat this maggot infested cheese that's
Like the
going
fact that
in.
they said it's so creamy.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
creamy that it's like beads or tears. Oh no.
yeah.
It's just like cheese puke out of a worm. No, disgusting. Absolutely not.
That's got to be good cheese. In the first
Ugh.
season of Saturday Night Live, they did a sketch called. They were making fun of Smucker's jam because the
Mhm.
catchphrase for Smucker's was, with a name like Smucker's, it
It's
has
got
to
to be
be
good.
good.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
and so
that.
the premise was, what is it about the name Smucker's that makes you think this is good? So they changed the name to Fluckers, and they just kept coming up with disgusting flavors like mangled baby ducks,
Oh,
pain,
jeez.
painful rectal itch, and the punchline would always be, with a name like painful rectal itch, that's got to be great jam, and the flavor. I
That's
think we're in that.
hilarious.
Yes, it is. Oh yeah, season one, Saturday Night Live. So with this cheese, I think we're firmly in that camp. I will tell you one thing. One of the Sardinian cheeses I eat, goes by the name of sardo, and I think or sardi, which means it's salted. And then I
Mm.
heard that, I'm like, uh-oh, have I been eating this? But thankfully, the cheese I've been eating is a hard cheese. It's not creamy. There are no maggots, and it's illegal. So I've avoided it. But for a nanosecond, I thought, oh my God, is that what they've been selling me?
My gosh. You're like,
The
hey,
name was
guy.
too close. Yeah,
Just picturing like some guy in a trench coat. He's like, you want to get some cheese?
yeah,
And you're
I
like,
got some.
oh, no, I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Well, that was absolutely disgusting. I feel like my
Yes.
stomach is turning at the thought of a lot of these foods. So I will definitely save the rest of that list for tomorrow with Lena.
It's an
But
impressive
you
list. It's
it
an
is an
impressive
impressive list. Yeah, it's just bizarre. I mean, yes, it's a cultural thing. So like who are we to bash culture, right? Somebody else's
list.
culture. They've been raised on it, in a lot of places, maybe there's food scarcity or climate that, like for example in Iceland, yeah, they obviously have good weather, but they're a colder climate.
Yeah.
And so maybe they have to rely on the animals and the
Sure.
vegetables and plants that they have nearby. Shark is one of them.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's tradition,
My
man. We can't
my
bash it, even though it's
my
gross.
grandfather would say in Latin, after he'd say the prayer over the Sunday meal, he'd say "De gustibus," which was a
Goose.
shorthand
I love
way of
that.
saying, "In taste, there is no dispute." So, yeah, at the end of
Okay.
the day, if you guys are enjoying that fermented shark or the poisoned blowfish or the maggot infested,
Poison fish.
enjoy. You have I cast no judgment. I will politely pass. That's
Yeah,
all.
exactly. Like I will try anything. Like, how did I know I liked raw fish until I tried it?
Yeah.
That's fine. But the thing is, it's never killed me. It's never
Mm.
shut my kidneys down. I've never
Exactly.
had a
Exactly.
disease from it. So,
Yeah.
like, I will continue to eat it. However, if they were like, you know what, this will kill you, like,
No.
like I won't even eat farmed fish because I'm like, oh no, it has to come from the wherever. Anyways,
Yeah. All right.
that was a good one. I didn't think I would be as grossed out as I was. I just briefly glanced the list when I chose this topic yesterday. So
You're
it
brave.
was,
You're
it
brave,
was a
Becky.
little early to be gagging. But anyways, take us into your Tony Awards.
Okay, so Tony Awards were last night. I didn't watch them.
Mhm.
I'm a bit of a curmudgeon. I just get bored with award ceremonies because
It's
they're
kind of the
geared
same
to be
thing.
on TV and it becomes a big
Right.
advertisement. It's the
Fair.
television aspect. But I used to watch them all the time. And as I said,
Mhm.
having worked in the theater and being peripherally involved still, if I have friends who are involved or nominated, I'll watch. But last night was not one of them. But I did come
Mhm.
across something in social media. Someone had pointed out a list of only 5 actors have won Tony Awards. And by the way, the Tony Awards is given for Broadway theater. And so it's been decided that is the highest theatrical achievement, the United States has to
Right.
offer. And it's no small thing. Absolutely.
Mhm.
But only 5 actors in the 78-year history of the Tony Awards have won acting awards in performing in a Shakespeare play. And
Oh wow.
one may think, yeah, well, Shakespeare, and Shakespeare's done in New York on Broadway, and
Mhm.
perhaps one of the greatest playwrights, but some would argue that the greatest writer in the English language, if not Western culture. Shakespeare plays are done regularly. There was a Shakespeare done on Broadway this year, Othello. Why only 5 have won acting awards in 78 years? Here's a list of who they are, and it's an interesting mix. We'll start with 1948, the first year of the Tony Awards. A woman won the Best Actress award. She's the only woman to have won an award for performing in a Shakespeare play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, her name is Catherine Cornell, and she won the award for playing Cleopatra in Antony and Cleopatra. Interesting, it was a 3-way tie. So 2 other people won Tony Awards for Best Actress, and they're worth mentioning, even though it's not Shakespeare. Judith Anderson won for performing Medea. So I'm like, all right.
Cool.
Won Best Performance by an Actress for Streetcar Named Desire. And Jessica Tandy, if you don't know who she is, she's had a remarkable career in stage and screen. And you can see her in throwing this out for run. You can see her in the Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds and Cocoon too. So lots of other movies too.
Cocoon.
But all right.
Oh my goodness.
Cocoon. Catherine Cornell, 1948, and for Cleopatra. Okay. 1964, Hume Cronin won for Best Actor in a Featured Role, playing Polonius in Hamlet. Hume Cronin married to Jessica Tandy for many years. Yeah. So that's why
it's competitive in their house. Like, do you think they're super supportive of each other? Or they're like, I'm winning. No, I'm winning. Yeah, exactly. The drama.
No, I think they worked wonderfully together. Both very talented, both highly decorated. So I think I'm going to say they were cool with it. Hume Cronin, you could see him in lots of TV shows, lots of films, including Cocoon, Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat, The World According to Garp. Great actor, but he won for playing Polonius in Hamlet. It was Richard Burton was playing Hamlet. Hume Cronin got the awards. Take that, Richard Burton. That was in 1964. Now let's leap ahead to 1985, where Sir Derek Jacobi won an award for Best Actor for playing Benedict in Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. And it's interesting, he was doing that it was a production of the Royal Shakespeare Company in the United States, and he was performing that in rep with a production of Cyrano de Bergerac. But his performance as Benedict garnered him the award. I wish I had seen it. I remember wanting to see both Cyrano and Much Ado About Nothing, but I didn't. Shame on me, and I missed out. Now we'll leap ahead to 1995, where Ralph Fiennes won Best Performance by an Actor playing Hamlet in Hamlet, and the only actor to win a Tony Award for playing Hamlet, even though many have played Hamlet on Broadway over the years. Love Ralph Fiennes. Kids, you would know him as Voldemort in the Harry Potter series of films. You can also see him in an excellent movie, Quiz Show, and lots of others. He's a great actor. And I'm sorry I missed his Hamlet too. And in 2014, Mark Rylance won a Tony Award for playing Olivia in a production of Twelfth Night. And this production was the Globe Theatre in England came to the United States on tour, and they did in rep Twelfth Night and Richard III. And Mark Rylance was the artistic director of the company. He played Richard in Richard III, and he played Olivia in Twelfth Night. And it quite deliberately, they were performing it as they did in Shakespeare's
where
time.
The men
played
the women. Interesting.
And Mark Rylance, yes, a magnificent actor. He was wonderful as Olivia. I saw that production. I took my kids, and we went because the great actor Stephen Fry was playing Malvolio in that production. We all wanted to see Stephen Fry, and it was just lovely. It was the whole production was excellent. Mark Rylance, as always, wonderful. And if you haven't seen his work, you can see him in the film Bridge of Spies and the outfit. He's just wonderful. By the way, Becky, Hume Cronin, I forgot to mention, Canadian American.
Oh, no way.
Canadian. I think he was Canadian.
Very cool.
So once again, the best American actors and whatnot
are from Canada.
probably
Yeah, he's
really
from
Canadian.
London, Ontario,
Yeah.
it says, which is right near where my grandma lives. So I've been to London many a time.
Yeah.
Interesting. You don't think of anyone's from London, Ontario. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, those are the 5 winners for Shakespeare. Meryl Streep has not won a Tony Award for being in a Shakespeare role, and that's fine. I mean, it's an arbitrary measurement, but it is interesting. There had to be something very special about these performances.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sure. That's cool. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, I wish that we had more these sort of events come to my way. They don't travel substantially on Broadway, right? We have The Lion King coming in July, which we are going.
Right.
No, we are
have
going.
You seen it? See that production, because it's a nice play.
It's a nice play,
but it's really Julie Taymor. No, in and of itself, but it's Julie Taymor's production that is take your breath away. You will all children of all ages, adults of all ages.
We're taking my mother-in-law for her birthday, so we're pretty excited about that. That's going to be a good time. I did see, and I don't know, I wouldn't consider this like in the same caliber of what you're speaking of. We did see the Book of Mormon when it came.
Oh no, great play.
I loved the first half. The second half, I was like, this is getting really old. And this is from someone who loves South Park, loves those guys. By the second half, I'm like, over this. This is boring. But I do love love theater. Yeah. I used to go lots when I was young, and I don't know, life happened, and I don't make a point of it. Sure. Now the arts isn't like huge in Edmonton, obviously, but yeah, it'd be cool if we ever came to New York. We would obviously make time for that to go to Broadway, but one day, maybe. That's so fun.
Okay. Hey, speaking of Edmonton, very quickly, I haven't been following. How are your Oilers doing?
We are doing well. The series is tied at 1-1, and game tonight. So they are in Florida tonight. So yes, crossing our fingers. It's intense. I can only go down and watch like the third period because I can't handle the first. I can't handle all of that anxiety.
That's funny.
Right. It's just my issue is like I don't want to see everyone so sad again. Like Florida won it last year. They got to celebrate the Canadian. Like Edmonton was so hurt. We were out at a bar last year when this happened, and just everyone left like weeping. I was like, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to see that again. Nope. So, it's emotional. It's emotional here for us. So, speaking of emotional, we're talking Billy Joel again. Now, we had discussed a couple weeks ago about how he is being treated for this rare brain condition that's forced him to cancel his tour in the US, as well as 2 of his scheduled shows that were happening in the UK. So, a new documentary has come out. It's titled Billy Joel, and So It Goes. The first part actually just premiered on June 5th, so just this past Thursday at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York City. In this documentary, Billy Joel actually discloses that he attempted suicide twice in his younger years, which is crazy because, if you're anything like me, you grow up with these artists, these celebrities, thinking that they have their life together, like especially someone like Billy Joel. It just seems like he had everything, right? So to hear that he tried to commit suicide 2 times is heartbreaking. Now it says that after he did that, he fell into a coma. Like, did you know about any of this?
I did not. And were these attempts before he had sort of established himself, or during the early days of his?
I think it was in
success?
those very early days, because it sounds like it might have even been before Piano Man. So it was saying that he had an affair with the wife of his former bandmate and best friend. So his friend's name was John Small. It says that Billy Joel and John Small formed a band in their early 20s called Attila. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. He had actually moved in with this bandmate and the bandmate's wife, Elizabeth, and then their son. Now, she was saying that Billy Joel and I spent a lot of time together, adding that their relationship was a slow build, as one is when you sleep with your best friend's wife. It says that his friend began to suspect that
Yeah.
something was going on between the two, and Joel apparently confessed that I'm in love with your wife. He felt very, very guilty about it, he tells whomever is interviewing him. He said, my friend and his wife, they had a child. I felt like a homewrecker. I was just in love with a woman and I got punched in the nose, which I deserved. My friend was very upset and I was very upset. This ensuing fight resulted in the breakup of their band, Attila. I mean, obviously that worked out for Billy Joel, but I don't know if it ever worked out for his friend, John.
No,
Like,
no.
who is John Small? Do we even know if he ever did anything?
He started the band with Pete Best. Pete Best was
Okay.
the drummer of the Beatles before Ringo came
Oh,
along. So
right.
I was making a
Right.
joke. He did not.
No, I get it. That's funny. Now it says
Uh,
that the ensuing fight resulted in the breakup, as we know, of Attila, and as well of the end of Billy Joel and John Small's friendship for some time. Joel then began drinking heavily, falling into a very self-destructive spiral. He had no place to live. He was sleeping in laundromats and was depressed to the point of almost being psychotic. This is crazy.
yeah,
So he
yeah.
said, I figured that's it. I don't want to live anymore. I was just in a lot of pain. And it was sort of like, why hang out? Tomorrow is just going to be today. And today sucks. So I thought I would just end it all. Now it says that Billy Joel's sister Judy recalled the musician being in a coma for days and days and days after his suicide attempt. I went to go see him in the hospital and he was laying there as white as a sheet. Now I wonder, I don't want to get morbid, but like I wonder what you would have to do to put yourself into a coma. Pills,
Yeah.
maybe?
Possibility. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
Alcohol coma with pills.
Yeah, maybe you like overdid it with
Mhm,
drugs and alcohol. It says
yeah.
the singer songwriter that all recovered, but then attempted to take his own life for a second time, which led to his friend, the friend that he was no longer friends with, John Small, taking him to the hospital. He said, even though our friendship was blowing up, John saved my life, Joel said.
Mm.
He John added to this documentary that he never really said anything to me. The only practical answer I can give as to why Billy took it so hard was because he loved me that much and it killed him that he hurt me that much. So eventually he forgave him. So it says Billy Joel had a life-changing experience when he checked himself into an observation ward after recovering for a second time from a suicide attempt. He says you can utilize all those emotions to channel that into music. Now, I
Yeah.
don't like when I hear Billy Joel's music, I don't know that I feel this. Like I don't know that I feel that emotion channeled into it. I like his music.
Right.
Do you feel like it is?
It depends on the song. Like
I suppose.
you don't feel it in Only the Good Die Young, let's say,
Right.
oh, what's one of a? There's a lot where you don't
Leaders
feel it,
on
but then
fire.
right, you don't. But
Yeah.
now let's look at Piano Man. Now let's look at Captain Jack. Now let's look at even The
Hmm.
Stranger,
Hmm.
which is kind of I think it's an excellent song that often gets overlooked because there's so many gosh darn great songs on the album. But he named the
Hmm.
album The Stranger. There's a darkness there, and with that comes a richness in his songs because you have that full palette. You have very upbeat songs,
Mm.
you have light songs, romantic songs, funny songs, but in some of them, yeah, there is an aching sadness. There is a darkness.
Hmm.
So depends on the song, and he's got such a large catalog of
Fair.
them, you know, that they're so no, and it's that those songs aren't the ones that make us happy and
Right.
bring us joy, but the quality songs. I knew none of this, but I always suspected, there were look, he's a human being. We've all had our challenges, but I always suspected that there were
Right.
demons for the person who wrote Captain Jack or The Stranger, that there's
Mm.
some dark things that he's expressing. And if writing these songs, by the way, helped exercise them, if you
Fair.
will. But the I don't this just reminds us all always the premium of mental health, emotional health, and for when that is challenged or taken away, or you don't have it, or you're afflicted with something, I mean,
Hmm.
it's real suffering. And this all happened to him at a time where I don't think you had the resources available that we do now, or the openness about conversations. I mean, he's
Fair.
lucky to be alive, right? And that
Yeah.
whatever treatment he went to got him to the point where he could function, and he backed away from taking his own life. What a story! What a story! I had no idea of any of it.
I know. It's so crazy. It also said that he and this woman, Elizabeth Weber, his friend's wife, later reconnected and were actually married from 1973 to 1982.
Oh, wow.
So, like, only 9 years. Like, if this was the great love of your life, you're willing to risk your greatest friendship, your life over this woman, and then you're only married to her for 9 years. I mean, maybe it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be.
No, maybe he was high maintenance. Maybe
maybe. I don't know. I think you like build up this relationship in your head on like a pedestal, as I would imagine you do in affairs, and then when you actually, like, when push comes to shove, you realize, like, this is not all what the grass isn't greener kind of thing. So now it's saying that he did not attend this documentary screening himself, of course, but the documentary's co-director shared a message from him to the audience, and it doesn't even say what that was. So I love how they leave the article off like this. He shared a message. Okay, well, we know. No, absolutely not.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So yeah, it's an interesting story. Yeah.
Yeah. So many, so many artists we get, they're just people too, right? And we only see the aspect of them, the performative aspect, or whether it's their written words, their painting, their music. But like most people, when you dig into their lives, there's hardship. There's some things maybe we don't like, but it's very abundantly human, because this is not just for artists or writers or whatnot. You can go into anyone off the street, what they've had to deal with, what they had to overcome, what terrible things they may have done. It's a messy life.
It's a messy life,
but
for
he
sure.
did give us with that said, he leaves a legacy of wonderful music and song, 3-4 decades worth. So we have to separate. If we want to enjoy that, we have to separate.
For sure. This is how I look at most celebrities. I try to separate everything. I want to see them for that acting job, that song, whatever, and nothing in their personal life. Because you're right. Everyone is just human at the end of the day, and we all make terrible choices sometimes. And
But I know you have and we've not had this discussion when we've been on shows together, but I understand that from time to time you talk about celebrities as sort of bad behavior and inappropriate behavior, and you've sort of had it. And I get that. I think the fact that they're celebrities, that we lionize them, that we make these people into heroes, that's the misstep, because they're just people. They've given us a gift that we enjoy.
For sure.
But honest to God, worshiping them, anything from celebrities, the founding fathers, let a little perspective.
Right.
And I think we're all better off for it.
For sure. I don't know. I'm just sick of celebrities like getting away with things that us poor people don't get away with, what I'm saying? Or like, or more sinister than that is like these Hollywood parties or these record label parties. Like, these are things that like most normal people or real everyday people should never have to experience. And I think it's terrible. And that's what I hate about celebrities, is like that lifestyle. And then like the arrogance that comes along with it. Like, okay, you act, you got discovered. A lot of people could probably do that. Like a lot of people have amazing voices. A lot of people are very talented, but it's like treating people poorly because you have money all of a sudden. I don't know. To me, it just,
It does not entitle you to bad behavior, to criminal behavior, and anything.
Exactly.
You let that happen. I'm with you 100% on that. 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
but I do
Billy
appreciate
Joel.
Talent. Yeah, poor Billy Joel. But we, like we said last time, we wish him well in his recovery, and hope that he can just get some rest. You don't need to tour, my guy. You're 100 years old. You don't need to tour. Just go chill.
Yes.
So great show today. We are now at 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. So we will end the show here. Come back tomorrow. It'll be me and maybe Lana. Lana's our Saturday girl. She said that she could probably do it with me tomorrow. So I'm very excited about that. And then Kenny and Ron will be back Wednesday. And I can't remember who's here Thursday. I think it's Ron and Tony. So it'll be a good week. A lot of mixing up of people this week. So I'm excited to see all that. So make sure you check us out on all of our socials and be back tomorrow with me.
Good. I'm going to grab me some Sardinian cheese and bullfrog. So maybe we'll see you next week.
Yeah, maybe we won't. We'll see. We'll see if your kidneys